So let's dive into a question that I think probably hits close to home for almost all of us. Why are our minds so relentlessly busy? We're going to look for some answers today through the really profound insights of the philosopher J. Krishnamurti. And let's just start right there, right now. Take a second and just notice your own mind. Is there a voice in there? You know, that constant internal monologue, that stream of thoughts, worries, plans, little judgments? For most of us, yeah, the answer is a big, resounding yes. It's just endless chatter. And the thing is, we don't just experience this as noise, right? It feels like a battle. On one side, you've got that chattering mind going a mile a minute. And on the other side, well, that's you, trying to shut it up, trying to force it, trying to control it. Krishnamurti points out that this whole dynamic creates a state of constant conflict, this internal war, and it's just a tremendous waste of energy.
And of course, when you're faced with all that noise, what's the first thing you ask? It's this right here. How do I fix this? How can I just make my mind quiet? We start looking for techniques, methods, little tricks, anything to just shut it down and get a little bit of peace.
But here's the thing. This is where the whole investigation takes a really sharp turn. Krishnamurti suggests that our obsession with the how to stop it, how to control it, is the very thing that's keeping us trapped in that exhausting loop.
So here it is, the crucial point. Instead of just fighting the symptom, he invites us to look at the cause. To stop asking how and start asking why. Why is the mind chattering to begin with? I mean, just that simple shift from how to why, it changes absolutely everything.
Okay, so let's follow that question. Why is it so busy? Is it, just a bad habit that we've all picked up? Or maybe a kind of mental laziness, as Krishnamurti puts it? Is it just the way our modern world has conditioned us to be? Or could it be pointing to something much, much deeper? And this is where we get to the absolute core of his argument. The idea is that this constant occupation, this busyness, isn't an accident. It's actually a strategy, even if it's an unconscious one. The mind keeps itself busy to avoid something it finds completely and utterly terrifying.
I mean, listen to how he puts it. So direct. The chatter, the constant thinking about work, about the future, about the past, it's all a mad dash away from this fundamental fear of inner emptiness. The fear of just being nothing.
So yeah, let's just call it what it is, the occupied mind. It's a mind that is compulsively filling every single moment with activity. Thinking, worrying, planning, even so-called spiritual seeking. All of it designed to escape that deep-seated terror of what it might find in the silence. Emptiness.
Now, because we're scared of this emptiness, and we're also totally fed up with the random noise, we look for a more respectable way to keep the mind busy. And that, my friends, is where concentration comes into the picture. But here's the twist. This solution that we've all been taught to admire, it's actually a trap, a very, very sophisticated one. Think about what's actually happening when we concentrate. You pick one thing, a task, an idea, whatever, and then what do? You build a mental wall around it. And you spend all your energy actively fighting off everything else that tries to get in. It's not a state of peace. It's an active force. It's exclusion, and it takes constant effort. And here is the real kicker. All that effort, that whole internal monologue of, I must concentrate, I must not get distracted. Who is doing all that? The I, the self. Every act of concentration actually strengthens the very sense of me that is at the center of all the conflict in the first place.
So you see, it doesn't really matter if the mind is occupied with 1,000 random thoughts or with one single, highly focused thought. It's still occupied. It's still a prisoner. Concentration just gives that prison cell a nice, respectable polish. It builds a fancier cage. Okay, so if concentration is a trap, what's the alternative? Is there one? Well, Krishnamurti points to something totally fundamentally different, a state he simply calls attention. And you have got to see just how different these two things are. Look at this. Concentration always has a center, the I who is doing the concentrating. It builds walls, it creates conflict. But attention has no center. There's no me trying to be attentive. It has no borders, no walls. It is simply a state of total open listening. This just says it all, doesn't it? In that state of pure, total attention, when you are fully listening with your entire being, with your body, your nerves, all of it, that sense of a separate self, that little observer in your head who's always judging and controlling, it's just not there. It dissolves. And this is maybe the hardest part for our minds to grasp.
He insists this isn't a skill you can practice. Because the moment you try to practice attention, you've just turned it back into concentration. You've brought the I back into the game. He says it's not an act of doing anything, it's a state of being.
So we come all the way back around, but with a completely new perspective. The real inquiry, the real work, isn't about finding some new technique to stop your mind. The question is simply this: can you watch your own mind being busy? Can you see it being occupied without doing a single thing about it? Without judging it as good or bad, just observe.
And we're going to end with Krishnamurti's own challenge, which feels just as powerful today as it did back then. Because after all of this explanation, the real question isn't whether you understand the idea intellectually. It's whether you will actually look for yourself. Will you investigate your own mind? Or will this all just become another interesting concept to think about? The inquiry is now yours.